ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिक्षीदसादनं प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्रयवतो गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरः ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः सदाशिवसमारम्भां श्रीकण्ठाराध्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां सदाशिवं शिवां स्कन्दं केशवं पद्मसम्भवं नन्दीश्वरं कुम्भयोनिं भरद्वाजात्रिगौतमान् नमोऽस्तु गुरवे नित्यं श्रीकण्ठशिवयोगिने श्रुतिसारशिवविशिष्टाद्वैत परभाष्यविदायिने जगद्गुरु श्रीकण्ठाराध्या रेणुकाराध्या मङ्गलं देहि प्रभो त्रैलोक्यसम्पदा लेख्यसमुल्लेखनभित्तये सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय शिवाय ब्रह्मणे नमः यामाहुः सर्वलोकानां प्रकृतिं शास्त्रपारगाः तां धर्मचारिणीं शम्भोः प्रणमामि परां शिवाम् अमृतार्थं प्रपन्नार्तां यासु विद्याप्रदायिनी अहर्निशमहं वन्दे ताम् ईशानमनोरमां ददीचिम् उपमन्युञ्च मार्कण्डेयं पराशरं श्वेताचार्यं तच्छिष्यं नीलकण्ठशिवाह्वयम् देवदेव महादेव देवानाम् अभयप्रद ब्रह्मनारायणेन्द्रादि सर्वदेव पदप्रद Saamba Shivaya Namaha. So thank you all for joining. So yesterday we saw about some of the interesting verses, in Mahabharatam. Now we have to see everything collectively as a whole and not see in bits and pieces. So if we try to understand the Bhagavad Gita just by taking 700 verses out of the entire Mahabharata, which contains more than 1 lakh verses, it will not make sense. So we saw various instances in the Ashwamedha Parvam, Drona Parvam, Anushasana Parvam, indicating how Bhagavad Gita aligns only with Lord Shiva, and it is preaching Shiva Tattva. It is describing the form of Lord Shiva, and it is none other than the words of Lord Shiva. And also we saw references from the Kurma Mahapuranam, and then we went on seeing how Ishvara Gita, was passed on as Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And various references from various Puranas, from Padma Purana, Shiva Purana, Linga Purana, Skanda Purana, various references from various Puranas, how, describing how Krishna is described as a great devotee of Lord Shiva. Even in Brahma Vaivarta Puranam and Narada Puranam, how Krishna is a great Shiva Bhakta. He is an example, he is a role model for a Shiva Bhakta. How he is always engaged in Shiva Bhakti, and that's the reason why he has acquired the Aishwaryam or the prosperity from Lord Shiva. He has acquired a Lakshmi by the grace of Lord Shiva. He has acquired all pervasiveness by the grace of Lord Shiva. So we saw that. And today we are going to see an interesting samvadam, that is dialogue between Lakshmi and Narayana, that happens in the Padma Purana Uttarakanda 175th chapter, for people who want to refer it out. So it's quite interesting, where Lakshmi and Narayana are engaging in a conversation. So Narayana is on the Milky Ocean, found to be sleeping, but actually he's not sleeping, he is meditating. But so that's where Lakshmi asks a question. Shagalurasi dugdabdau bhagavan kena hetuna udasina ivaishwaryam jaganti stapayanniva. Oh Vishnu ji, why are you sleeping? For what purpose you are sleeping in the Milky Ocean? She asks. Aap so rahe hai Vishnu ji? She asks. And why are you sleeping? And then Vishnu replies, Naham sumuki nidralur nijam maheshwaram vapuhu drisha tattvanu vartinya pashyam yantar nimagnaya. Oh Lakshmi, I am not sleeping. My sight is turned inward. It is focused on my antaratma. Pashyam yantar nimagnaya. Antaratma. I am completely focused on meditating on my Paramatma, Antaratma, Maheshwara, Saamba Shiva, Chandrasekhara. I am looking for understanding the ultimate truth. And I am focused inward, meditating on Maheshwara, who is my Antaratma. Kushagraya diya devi yadantar yogino hridi pashyanti yaccha vedanam saram mimam satesh brusham. So he goes on to say, Vishnu says, Even crores and crores of sages, yadanti yogino, even the yogis, they actually try to meditate on Mahadeva and they try to catch Mahadeva with their bhakti. They meditate on Mahadeva for crores and crores of years. And that is what I'm also trying to do. And there are various references where Lord Shiva is described in the heart of all the living entities. Deva Nagam Hridayebhyo Namo Viksheenakebhyo Namo Vichinvatkebhyo Nama Anarhatebhyo Nama Ami Vatkebhyaha. Told in the Rudram, he is in the heart of the Devas. Stugishrutam Kartasadam Yuvanam Mriganna Bhimam Upahatna Mugram Rudacharitre Rudrastabano Anyante Aspenniva Pantusena. He is present in the heart of all the living entities. Hritpundarikam Virajam Vishuddham Kaivalya Upanishad. He is present in the Hridayakasha, the Harakasha. Takhram Vipapam Parame Eshvabhutam Yat Pundarikam Puramadhya Saggam Mahanarayana Upanishad. Saya Esho Antar Hritaya Akashaha Hiranmaya Purushaha. That Hiranmaya, that golden personality is present in the heart of all the living entities. Neelato Yadamadhyastad Vidyullekeva Bhasvara. Parashakti Mata and Paramashiva are present like, it's like the lightning that you see in the midst of the blue clouds. The blue clouds represent Mata Parashakti and the lightning represents Paramashiva. And then it goes on to say, Ridakam Satyam Param Brahma Purusham Krishna Pingalam Urdvaretam Virupaksham Vishwarupam Namamyaham. He is present in that way. Mata Parashakti and Paramashiva are present in the heart of all the living entities, including the Devatas like Brahma and Narayana. So that's what yogis also try to do. The yogis also try to meditate and then have the vision of the divine Maheshwara, who has a divine spiritual form. Tejoyatte Rupam Kalyanatamam. 16th verse of the Ishavasya Upanishad, also present in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Tadevam Aksharam Jyotir Atma Rupam Anamayam. He goes on, he proceeds. Narayana proceeds to explain Lakshmi. Now what does it mean actually? Tadevam Aksharam Jyotir Atma Rupam Anamayam. It is the highest joy that one can experience. Jyotir, the Tejas, Jyoti, Mahadeva appeared as an Agni Stamba. And infinite Jyoti or infinite effulgence, infinite light was coming from him, which even Brahma and Vishnu couldn't withstand. Atma Rupam, Anamayam. He is indestructible. He is eternal. Akhandananda Sandoka Nishpadi Dvaitavarjitam. He is one without a second. There is no second to him. There is nothing that is equal to him. There is nothing that is greater than him. Eko Rudro Nadvitiyaya, which comes 3 times in the Vedas. Shvetashvatara Upanishad, Atharvashiras Upanishad, also in the Taittiriya Samhita, Krishna Yajurvedam 186. And then we have the Paratparam verse, famous verse, Shiva Sankalpa Suktam Rigvedam Kilabhagam, which establishes Mahadeva as the Parataram. He is greater than Brahma and Hari, 18th verse. We have seen that many times. So there is nothing that is equal to him, or there is nothing that is greater than him. So, in this context, I remember a verse from Sutta Samhita, Brahma Gita, Yajna Vaibhava Kandam, Brahma Gita, 2nd chapter, 43rd verse says that, Veda Bhahyena Margena Pujayanti Janardanam Nindati Shankaram Mohat Pashando Pahata Janaha. Which means, Veda Bhashya, people who are not following the Vedas, people who are outside the Vedas, Pujayanti Janardanam, they worship Janardana. And they go to the extent of Nindati Shankaram Mohat. They do Shiva Ninda. They hate Lord Shiva. They are described as Pashando Pahata Janaha, Pashandis. There is a big description in the 2nd chapter of Sutta Samhita, Brahma Gita, which describes what is a Pashandi actually. And also Veda Bhahyena, people who are outside the Vedas, they do Shivaninda and they engage in puja to Janardana. So these kind of things are there. So Lord Shiva is the ultimate essence and he is the only object of meditation and only object of worship according to the Vedas. Namo Veda Vidam Manishinam Upasaniyaya Namo Namaha. The one who has read the Vedas and Upanishads will come to the conclusion that Shiva Bhakti alone will transcend him from the repeated cycles of birth and death. So a person who doesn't come to that conclusion, there is no point in reading the Vedas or Upanishads. And then he goes on, Akhandananda. Akhanda means the universe. The universe, it is under the support of that personality, whom I am meditating on, Maheshwara. It is under his support. Sandoha nishpadi dvaita varjitam yadashraya jagat vrittir yenmaya chanu bhuyate na yena rahitam kinchit jagat tattvam characharam. Jiva jagat ishvara. Charam acharam and then jagat. Chetana achetana and then jagat. So basically, so the achetanam means the non-living. Chetana means the living. So all the jivatmas from the blade of a grass till Vishnu are chetana. And then that is immovable or something that is non-living is that jagat, achetana. And then all these two, the chetana and achetana is under the control of that Ishvara. Jiva jagat Ishvara, the triad is very beautifully is explained in the Upanishads as Pashupati and Pasham. Pasham is that worldly bondage. And then Pashu is the Jiva Tattva from the blade of a grass till Vishnu. And then Ishvara, who is the controller of the Jagat and the Jivatmas. Nirmatya Bahuda Lokya Veda Shastram Buddhim Sudihi Dvaipayano Yada Sadhya Gita Shastram Nisrishtavan. So he says that, Dvaipayana, Krishna Dvaipayana compiled this holy text called Gita, and it is talking only about this personality whom I am meditating on in my heart. He is the ultimate giver of Paramananda, and everything depends. He alone is Swarat and everything depends on him. All the mobile and immobile are dependent on him. But he is independent. And then the only way to get Paramananda is to surrender to Maheshwara. That's what the Vedas say. Tamevam vidvan amrita iha bhavati nanyah panta ayanaya vidyate. To get amritatvam, to get immortality, to get relieved from the repeated cycles of birth and death, surrender to that personality. Tamevam viditvati mrityumeti nanyah panta vidyate yanaya. Shvetashpatra Upanishad 3rd chapter 8th verse also says that Tamevam viditvati mrityumeti, to attain immortality, there is no other way apart from surrendering to Mahadeva. Shvetashpatra Upanishad. And then Purusha Suktam also says that. Again, 2 times it comes. And then, so I'm resorting to that Paramananda. Yadastaya Mahanandam Anandi Krita Manasaha Nidraluriva Deveshi Dugdabdau Pratibhami Vai. Oh Lakshmi, I am, resorting to that Paramananda. I'm resorting to that Paramaheshwara. He only can give Paramananda. So, actually, I am meditating on him, but I appear to be Nidra. I appear to be sleeping in the Milky Ocean, but I am actually meditating on that Supreme Maheshwara. And the Tatparyam of the Gita also is Lord Shiva. So, we'll be seeing that the form of Maheshwara is explained by Narayana himself. So, I want to touch upon one thing, because Narayana mentioned here, even the sages are meditating, for many, many years to have the divine vision of Maheshwara. And even Narayana does that. So, Narayana mentions that in another place in Padma Purana. So that reference is there in the Padma Purana Patala Kanda 114th chapter, 185th to the 190th verse. Shruti Devadya Gamyam Hi Padam Tava Kilam Stitam. Shruti means the Vedas. The Vedas are searching for your feet. They are not able to find your feet yet. Sarvopanishadav Vyaktam Tvat Padam Kapi Sarvayuk. All the Upanishads are searching for your feet. They are not yet. They have not found your feet yet. Namah Shivaya. Yamadi sadhanair yogair nakshanam te padam stitam maha yogi hridam bhoje bhalam swacham hanumati varsha koti sagasresho tapah krutva tu dushkaram. All the sages are meditating for crores and crores of years to have that vision of your feet in their heart. Hridam bhoje, in their heart. Datte pada yugam change yogi hridyapi nakshamam. They are not able to find. And then Varsha Koti Sagasram tu Sagasrabdair Atanvakam Bhaktya Sampujitopi Shapadono Darshitastvaya. So he mentioned the sages, the Vedas, Upanishads, everybody are searching for his feet, and then he includes himself. I am also searching for your feet for crores and crores of years. You have not manifested that to me, O Maheshwara. So I just remembered that. Because the same Narayana mentions that again in Patalakanda. So now continuing, he mentions more verses to Lakshmi. Tasmat tvattah param yattat shrotum kautuhalam hime chara charanam lokanam karta harta swayam prabhu yatasti tastatonyatvam yadi mam bodhayachyuta. So this, I know, after hearing whatever Narayana says, Lakshmi asks, I have a great curiosity, O Narayana, is there anything that is greater than you? Na tasmat vattah param yattach. Param, there's something that is greater than you. She asks this specifically to Narayana after hearing this, something that is greater than you. Now you are the creator, maintainer and destroyer, and now Narayana, he is the creator, maintainer and destroyer by the grace of Lord Shiva, because that is awarded to him as a gift by Lord Shiva himself. The ultimate creator, ultimate maintainer is Mahadeva only. He is Panchakritya. Now we'll be seeing that Panchakritya is beautifully aligned with Nataraja Swarupam. We'll be seeing that in the coming days. So, something that is different from you and something that is greater than you, I want to know. She asks. And then Narayana replies, Maya mayamidam devi vapurme natu tatvikam srishti-stityopa samhara kriya jalopa brimhitam. Now whatever the body that you are seeing, Shankha Chakra Gada Pana that you are seeing, with your eyes, it is temporary, oh dear Lakshmi. I myself am temporary. I am not eternal. Ephemeral. So like only Mahadeva is eternal. So he goes on to say that, this body that you see, which is involved in the acts of creation, maintenance and destruction, is temporary. It is not, it is not permanent. So which means he himself explains that he is temporary. That's why the Katha Upanishad says, Asyaivananda koshena stambanta Vishnu purvakaha. Starting from the blade of the grass till Vishnu, everything is under the control of Paramaheshwara. And then Avastha Tritiyatitam Turiyam Brahma Samhitam Brahma Vishnavadivihi Sevyam Sarvesham Janakam Param. So this is told in the Panchabrahma Upanishad. Avastha Tritiyatitam. So we have the three states of consciousness, right? Vaishvanara Taijasa Prajna. And the fourth state of consciousness is represented as Maheshwara. Avastha Tritiyatitam Turiyam. That is described as Turiyam. And then Brahma Vishnavadivihi Sevyam Sarvesham Janakam Param. So that Tatpurusha is described as the begetter of even Brahma and Vishnu. And then Somah Pavate Janita Matinam Janita Divo Janita Pratubhyaha Janita Agnir Janita Suryasya Janitendrasya Janitota Vishnoho. So everything including the earth, heaven, Agni, Surya, Brahma, Chandra, Vayu and Vishnu, everything is begotten by Parashakti Mata and Paramashiva Soma. Rigveda 996.5 and also Samavedam Purvarchika and Uttararchika mentions this. Bhasmajavala Upanishad also mentions this verse. Like that there are many references. Deva Deva Mahadeva, the very first verse in the beginning I recited. Deva Deva Mahadeva Devanam Abhayaprada Brahma Narayanendradi Sarva Deva Padaprada 4.1.13.9. Kashikandam 1st Purvarda 13th chapter 9th verse. Deva Deva Mahadeva. A devotee says, you grant abhaya, fearlessness to your devotees. And then you can even grant the positions of Brahma, Narayana, Indradi, Sarva Deva Padaprada. You can grant the positions of even Brahma, Narayana and Indra. So like that there are many references talking about the Jivatvam of Vishnu and Brahma. So here, like that Vishnu himself says that he is temporary. And then he goes on to say, Atonyad Atmano Rupam Dvaita Vivarjitam Bhava Vinir Muktam Adyanta Rahitam Priye. Oh my dear, but the nature of the Antaratma, my Antaratma, Maheshwara, that nature of that soul, Paramatma, is actually completely different from this. He says that it is different from what you are seeing in front of your eyes. He himself admits that he is not Paramatma. And then he goes on to say that the nature of that Paramatma is different. And then it is without duality. It is one without a second. Now, without duality means it's not Advaitam, it's not Mayavada philosophy. Mahadeva is one without a second. That's what it means. He doesn't have, any equal, or he doesn't have anything greater than him. So he is one without a second. Eko Rudro Nadvithiyaya. And then it is without beginning or end. So which is what is told in the Kaivalya Upanishad. Tam Adimadya Anta Vihinamekam Vibhum Chidananda Rupam Arupam Adbhutam. He is without beginning and end. He is called as Ananta. Ananta is one of the names in the Atharvashiras Upanishad. Told in the Atharvashiras Upanishad for Lord Shiva. He is infinite. He appeared as an Agni Stamba, infinite Agni Stamba, to destroy the Ahankara of Brahma and Vishnu. Anadhyantamadyam param tattvamartam. Shiva Bhujangam, second verse. Anadhyantamadyam. Anadi. You are infinite. And then Shuddha Sambit Prabhalabam Paranandaika Sundaram Rupam Aishwaram Atmaikya Gamyam Gitasu Kirtitam Ityakarnya Vacho Devi Devasyamita Tejasaha Shankamanaha Vakyeshu Paraspara Virodishu. So it is just pure consciousness, Shuddha. Shuddha means actually completely pure. Not even a tinge of dirt is present in Mahadeva. He is Nitya and Shuddha. From the blade of a grass till Vishnu and all of us are Ashuddha. But Mahadeva is Shuddha. Shuddha Spatika Sankasham Trinetram Panchavakrakam. Shuddha Spatika Sankasham. He is camphor white golden in complexion. Shuddha, pure consciousness and hair. And he has that camphor white complexion or golden complexion. And then Paranandam, it gives the highest pleasure. If you want the highest pleasure, you have to go to surrender to Mahadeva. Told in Bhagavad Gita also 1861-1862. We'll be seeing that verses in the coming days again. And then it is told, whatever has been, about Lord Shiva is told in this Bhagavad Gita. Swayam ched paramanandam avangam anasagocharam katam Gita bodhayati iti me chindi samshayam. It is told in the Gita. This is what is told. And that's why I said yesterday, I quoted a verse also that Krishna says, there is no point in worshipping me and casting aside Maheshwara. And even if you worship me for crores and crores of years with faith, you can never get mukti by casting aside Maheshwara. Because Maheshwara is the tatparyam of everything. Bhakti to Vishnu in course of time leads you to Lord Shiva. But Bhakti to Vishnu and then engaging in Shiva Dvesham will lead you to eternal hell only. So in course of time, Vishnu will lead you to Mahadeva only. And then Mahadeva Bhakti, Shiva Bhakti alone will lead you to liberation. Dvida tatah parak sakshi nirguno nishkalak shivaha. And then he goes on to explain in detail. Aparah panchavaktroham dvida tasyapi samstitaha. Panchavaktram. Very, very important point to be noted. So I'll be expanding on this Panchavaktram in detail after this Samvadam between Lakshmi and Narayana ends. I'll be giving Pramanam. So Panchavaktram means, Pancha means five. And then Vaktra means face. So Panchavaktra means five-faced. Five-faced Maheshwara. Panchasya, Panchanana, Panchavaktra. All these mean five-faced. Oh, five-faced personality. Shabdhartha Bedato Vachyo Yatatmaham Maheshwaraha Gitanam Vakya Rupena Yenniruchidyate Dradaha Yadabhyasa Paradino Panchavaktra Maheshwarau. So Tatparyam is that five-faced Maheshwara for this Gita. So that is the ultimate Tatparyam. He is the ultimate Tatparyam, and that is that Maheshwara I am meditating in my heart also. And then he goes on to say the divine form of Gita. Shrunus sushroni vakshyami Gitasu stitimatmanaha vaktrani panchajanihi panchadhyayan anukramat. I will tell you what is the essence, what is the form, what is my firm belief in the Gita. Narayana says to Lakshmi. And then he says, vaktrani panchajanihi. The five faces, pancha. The five faces, Sadhyojata, Vamadeva, Aghora, Tatpurusha, Ishana. These mantras also come in the Upanishads. I'll be reciting those, coming in the next 10 minutes. So the 5 phases are the 5 chapters in order. The first 5 chapters of Bhagavad Gita is the 5 phases of Lord Shiva. Dashadhyaya bhujaschaika udaram dvau padam bhuje. The next 10 chapters, totally 18 chapters are there, right? So next 10 chapters are the 10 hands of Maheshwara. Gangadaram dashabhujam, 10-handed Mahadeva. Dashadhyaya bhujaschaika udaram, Bhuja, that is 10 hands, are the next 10 chapters identify the 10 hands of Lord Shiva. Eka udaram, the stomach of Lord Shiva, is the 16th chapter, and dvau padam bhuje, the feet of Lord Shiva, are the 17th and the 18th chapters. So this is my firm belief in Gita, Narayana says to Lakshmi. And this form is beautifully described as the Maheshwara Svarupam, divine form, for which I'll be giving pramanams. Because some people will come and running, will come running and say, oh, okay, now how can you say this is the form of Lord Shiva? We'll be seeing that now. Various Garuda Puranam, Vishnu Dharmottara Puranam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Puranam, Padma Puranam, Brahmanda Puranam, all of them attest that. So we'll be seeing that. So this is the form, this is my firm belief in Gita, this is that form. The 5 phases are the 5 chapters. The next 10 hands are the next 10 chapters. 16th chapter is the Udara, that is stomach, and 17th and 18th chapter are the feet of Lord Shiva. So the Bhagavad Gita itself is Shiva Svarupam. 18 is also, aligns with Lord Shiva. 5 also aligns with Lord Shiva. So 18, if you see 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita, the war was fought for 18 days. And we know the personality who actually played the real role in the war. Who was the hero of the Mahabharata war? It was Lord Shiva, not Krishna or Arjuna. We saw that. Drona Parva playlist is available in my channel. One can check it out for new people. So he is that personality. So 18 days. War was conducted in 18. No, war was conducted for 18 days. Tatparyam is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is that hero. And then 18, if you see here, also 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So that is aligns with that Panchamukha Swarupa of Lord Shiva. The Mahabharata also contains 18 adhyayams. So 18 is a very significant number, and that aligns only with Lord Shiva. And then evam ashtadashadhyaya vangmayi murti raishwari vigneya jnanamatrena mahapatakanashini atodhyayam tadardam va shlokamardadam tadartakam abhyasyati sumedayak susharmeva samuchyate. Just by thinking that, reading Bhagavad Gita, thinking that it is actually Shiva Svarupam, not doing Shiva Dvesham. That's very, very important. Narayana says that. So thinking that Bhagavad Gita is Shiva Svarupam and the Shiva Tatparyam is Lord Shiva, and then engaging in reading Bhagavad Gita, all the sins will be destroyed, O Lakshmi. Narayana says that. And then he is fit for attaining liberation, which means going back to Lord Shiva, Parakailasha. Tatparyam is Lord Shiva, right? So, it is attaining Mahadeva is what is liberation.